Okay, welcome to another Unconquered with Doc Staples film session. We're going to be going through, I know, I haven't wanted to do this, but we're going to anyway. We're going to go through the opt-out bowl from January and take a look at why Florida State added some of the players that they did, where they added them in the larger process. So, we'll take a look at what Georgia was able to do and where they were able to take advantage of FSU's personnel here. So one of the things that I'm going to focus on in this is going to be the defensive line and specifically the edge positions where FSU got absolutely clobbered in this game. So here, you just got a split zone. So here, kick out, and then everybody else is stepping right. That's not bad from Daniel Lyons here. Gets a good lockout. Not the best from here, but this is one spot where, again, they missed their backers. Got to make that tackle. But if you look at that, basically it comes down to defensive tackles in a position to make the play and doesn't. All right. So moving on. Not having Josh Farmer in this was really big. So once again here, the 2nd and 2, split zone again. Same thing. And this is one where you'd like to see Daryl Jackson here win this a little bit more. So you got edge, you got B, you got A. He's going to be in the other A. Yeah, the backers here, something's wrong here in terms of the scrape. Looks like they might be gap exchanging it so that he's going to take the inside shoulder here and spill that, let that go to the backer. Yeah, they're spilling this, but that's got to be a harder spill. First of all, you want him to be inside there. He's going to take the outside, which means then you're going to need the backer here. Omar Graham is going to end up coming over here because he's going to flow with this. So you got there, and then he's going to flow with that split flow. So doesn't do it. It's a bit of a taking advantage of the inside backer there. So you can see here, he's flowing across. It's freezing up for some reason. It's flowing across, and they do a good job of getting him turned there. And Jackson's just a little late on getting his hands on him. Good run. So now to the outside. Nothing there. So this is where what they really missed in this game is Jarian Jones here. And, Greedy's a good player, but he did not play the way Jarian Jones did in the slot all year. Jones was one of the best corners in the country playing out of the slot, probably the best slot corner in the country this year. And they got the matchup that they wanted here on a little option route. And this is one where I just don't think, Jones gives that play up quite so easily. And you wind up with a big play on 2nd and 10. And if you want to know why they went to Alabama and grabbed a guy for that exact position, well, right here is a big indicator of why they brought a new guy in. And this is where I think Earl Little being in this spot as your primary starter can really help you. And, against some of these looks, they'll have both of them on the field, and Greedy's still going to play, but I think Earl Little is an upgrade there, and that's important here. But that's a key that was a key loss with Jarian Jones, as much as he just flat out one-on-one locked down slot receivers all season. With Greedy Vance, that was not as much of an option in this game. So here you've got nice little hard play action, and they're going to run basically a post-climb type concept. This is really well covered, actually, by Florida State. And they've got a corner blitz on here, which happens to be really well-timed for this concept. And then they do a good job of safety comes down here, and then they're working over the top on that. So this is a lot of teams, or a lot of programs call this a Yankee concept, but it's a post-climb in Florida State's nomenclature. Now, this is where, you still have Peyton with the ability to bend and reach and force that fumble. Huge not to actually have that come up as a turnover there. I mean, he's in position and just doesn't fall on it. Game might have looked different had he fallen on this early, and you get a chance to take a little bit of momentum there. Might have lost, 56 to 6 or something instead. All right, let's see. So here you got a little screen concept to the tight end. It's well sniffed out by the backer, doing a good job of reading his key. He knows who he's got. He's just sticking with it. He sees the release of the guard there, and he knows to get out to the outside shoulder. That's really good. Well diagnosed. His improvement's going to be important for next year, that's for sure. He's going to need to take a pretty big step. So 3rd and 22 here. Once again, pretty big play to the slot. I think they're actually playing a country drop zone here, so he's not matching that, and they just waited until he cleared. So he's carrying that vertical up until there. So you get your stop here. It's not too bad up front. So once again here, you're going to see this is just another zone play. This time not with a split zone. They're going to just have a little screen action out here. Sometimes they're going to RPO that, but this is a handoff all the way given the light box, which Florida State's going to play a lot of. And ultimately, this is what it boils down to. They didn't have any of these four win their matchup up front. So, he's not in bad shape here, but the line of scrimmage doesn't move. So he's got this gap. He's in this gap, and he's got this gap. And I think they've got a 2 gap here from, they're 2 gap in there with Jackson. And it's not too bad. But ultimately, again, they just kind of get pushed around here at this spot. The 2 backers are taking on those linemen. Not the best matchup. You get 6 on first down, 5 at least on first down. Now this is really good up front. So you see Jackson here. The 2 defensive tackles here wreck things a little bit. Light box, and you still get that stop. That's really good defensive line play overall. Now let's see. Let's move on. All right. So this is just going to be a quick slant here. And this is where, in this coverage, this should be inside leverage. So, this is man free here. He should be protecting that inside at all costs. And this is just a good job by the receiver of giving him the outside. But this is where the corner, you cannot give up the inside there. And this is something that AZ has done some. I don't think this is so easy against Green this year. This is where AZ has a chance to really improve, and he can be a lockdown guy. He's got the tools to be this year, but that's one where just getting beat on inside leverage. And I would like to actually see that foot about there and that foot about there, just to force him. You want to force him to the sideline in this coverage. Can't let him have a free inside release. Now over here, this is much better, but again, he should have inside leverage, and then just force that and squeeze that to the outside. That's pretty good coverage right there. Got a little blitz from the outside here that gets home. No question that UGA's offensive line was really good, and this is without Mims, who didn't play about half the year last year. But these guys, they were the best. They were the best team in the country last year, I thought, and basically played this game at full strength. And you could see that offensive talent up front. It's all day to throw here, and this right here is part of the problem. Your designated pass rusher here. This would be Jared Verse most of the season. You're just getting nothing from that. That's zero. And then inside here, you got to get more from Malcolm Ray. And then you're trying to bowl here from Briggs. That's not bad, but got to get home. And, they managed to keep that pocket. Things get really easy. And that's a tough cover. I mean, you're just asking your corner to do a lot there if you're not going to get any pressure. Now, here's kind of where I want to discuss some of the biggest problems that they had. And that is, they pretty early in this game started going to this kind of set where you'd have a wing, and then just mashing Florida State's edge guys. On this time, it's Patrick Payton, but he's running around that block, and the way this should be is he shouldn't get himself that far outside, first of all. And second of all, you see this, I mean, he's not even having to block anybody here. Now, this should be a tackle in the hole. So what Georgia did over and over again in this game is they took advantage of Florida State's edges and linebackers in the running game. And that's one, you just can't, this should be a tackle. If this is Tatum Bethune, this is a run through for a tackle. Now, the way this should have been is you should have had a hat on a hat here, and then he's here, and if he's able to get this block, it doesn't matter because he's gotten pushed out too far by Delp. So you got two problems here. One is at edge, and the other's at backer. But that should be a tackle every time, and then instead you give up a long run. I'm gonna keep going. Watch right here. So this is just a little eye candy here on the backside. Just going to try to hold this edge. And the way this should work is you're going to have somebody responsible here so that you can continue to do this responsibility here. And instead, essentially he's going to try to come in the backfield and make that tackle. So you either have to have your nickel make this tackle in the backfield. You have to have your end actually play his job here late and then have support from the secondary against the reverse, or you're screwed. And that's what happens here. I mean, the edge is in no man's land. Once again, they're taking advantage of the edge. The backer is crashing to his job here. I don't think, yeah. So something's off here because you got two guys that are in the same gap up here. And then as he's coming back, somebody's got to be rotating down for this to be able to let him attack. And that's not happening. But either way, it's just a mess. let me see this. So let's see. On this front, what they're doing is they're going to do this, this. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. So here, here. I think here and here. Yeah. Yep. So here, 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 here. Still a gap short. Okay, and there you go. Okay, so he's coming to this gap is what he's doing. But the problem is that one of these two guys has to be, you either have to push it and he has to push down because of this, and then he's going to take here or come inside for this spot, or you're kind of screwed because you cannot have him playing the contain here. He's got to step down into this gap. And he takes that one step too far, and it's a mess from the beginning. All right. And we're going to cover the offense on another video, but one thing I want to highlight, Florida State's offensive line handled Georgia pretty well here. I mean, in this game, they actually handled the Georgia front reasonably well and gave themselves opportunities. Just didn't have really the situations or, the execution in other respects to be able to land some of this. And as the quarterback here against this defensive look, you should be throwing this across the field here. Let him run to it instead of trying to throw it over the top. A little bit more across the field just because there's nobody there. All right. Let's go ahead and get to defense. So this is pretty decent here, and this is very good from Deloach. So they're just running a counter here, and Deloach blows this up in the backfield. The key here is you got to bury this double team, which he does. It's not bad. That's pretty good right there. I got to say that from Daniel Lyons. Watch how that knee right here gets low, and he keeps those pads low. He's actually kind of taken a knee to bury that. That's not bad. Now, you would like to see him hold on to that center, or that guard. It's that guard who's trying to get to the backer, to Cryer there, who does get around it. But all told, that's not bad. And then Cryer gets to his spot. It's pretty good overall. Still get 3 yards, but... But now watch what happens when they start to take advantage of the edge. Just going to get this. Right there. Edge is done. Now you're getting, and this is just, what is this, G? Yeah, this is just G. I love this play. So you're going to block down on that edge. You're going to get your lead here. As soon as that edge is blocked that much and is not actually going to be able to get into the backfield here, and then you get the offensive lineman who's able to get this crack essentially on the backer, this is over. And over and over and over again in this game, they're taking advantage of this spot and this spot. Young backers and basically edge guys who struggled all year. Not doing a whole lot on the interior, but they're really killing those edges, making those backers and those defensive ends do their thing. This should have been an interception here. Just tripped and fell, basically. Just run through it. Don't fall. So, once again here, what are they doing? They're going to take advantage of the backer. Now, this is really close. So they know that they've got the flat. It's just a little snag concept. As soon as he clears, they're going to hit this. He's got to be there on time. It's really good timing from Georgia. Tip your cap where you're going to. So once again, I want to highlight, where are they going? You're going to get this block on the edge. He's going to run around it. And edge just gets mashed. Now it's a one-on-one with a freshman safety. I'm going to take advantage of that. So they didn't show the reverse view of that. This is one of those plays that stuck out to me in this game. Once again, want you to watch what happens on the edge. Actually, on each edge, really, but watch what happens here. I mean, that's the ball game. And they just kept doing this. I mean, early in the second quarter, they figured out they could basically do this all they wanted because Florida State's edges just could not hold up against the running game without Jared Verse out there. They had no shot. And, this is in this setup with Verse out here. You probably have Verse in this spot and then Peyton here, which they had done all year. But in this setup with Peyton there not holding up, and then you've got a backer here who's got to hit this, come downhill harder. So he gets pushed. So Peyton gets pushed out. Backer gets mashed and gets pushed out of his gap. And there's really nothing left. And then, this other backer on the line of scrimmage, that's Graham there, also getting pushed back. I mean, this is a walk. And at this point, the ball game's over. So just watch, once again, he's able to get that hook. He's coming downhill. He should be coming downhill into this hard, blowing up this lineman, and he should be handling this gap. Just look how much they got washed. The front side is a little bit better, but, even though he's got this gap and he's trying to make sure that it doesn't move, he's got to hold up a little bit more against this. Is that Briggs? Yeah, that's Briggs. And they just got pushed around there. And there's a reason now why they went and they got some edge guys and some others that can hold up there. I still have some concerns when Farmer and Lyons and Darrell Jackson are not out there for this next year in terms of the defensive tackle spot, but they're going to need to get basically those things shored up, or you're going to see other teams just do this all year. And they're not going to be able to do it like Georgia, but that's going to be the attack. That's what Miami's going to basically do. Miami will study the heck out of this and try to find ways to do the same things, and it's just a matter of whether or not Florida State will have filled the cupboard enough to deal with that exact thing that they're gonna see from Miami over and over again. So skip that first play, not really that relevant. We're gonna look here once again. Take a look at the pass protection. There's zero pressure from this front four, and largely because essentially what they're doing a lot of is they're expecting this edge to get pressure. He's the DPR, designated pass rusher in this. He's just getting nothing. So you get a nice throw out there. That's a great catch. And this is good coverage by Thomas. Sometimes you just get beat there. That's, tip your cap. Main issue here, he shouldn't be looking for the ball. Don't look back. Punch through the hand as it extends. Now, what I want you to take note of again is, where is this ball going? You have a tight end and a tackle here. They're going to take out that edge. Everything's going to collapse from there. Watch. Tight end wins against the defensive end. Tackle gets to the backer. And this play's over. It's as simple as just getting eaten alive on the edge. And that's Patrick Payton getting his butt kicked by a tight end. That right there, that's why you give that play up. Is Patrick Payton is 4 yards deep when the ball carrier hits the line of scrimmage. He should be stalemating this at least and forcing that back to go horizontal, to go sideline to sideline. Instead, straight ahead, you're going to get, it's just easy. And again, all they're doing here, they recognize they don't need to do much inside. FSU's strength is inside. They don't need to do that because they can dominate on the edge over and over and over again. Did it once. Can you do it again? Hey, let's just keep running on the edge. Force them to chase and go get it. Same play, effectively. Going to take care of that end. Going to get up to that backer. Backer cannot let this reach him. But the end here has to take that gap. And backer, let's see. Yeah, backer has over here. So backer cannot let him get reached. You got a true freshman backer. It's over. Guys, this is really simple. And it's not like the rest of the defense, all back in here and in these other spots played really poorly. Florida State in this game got beat right here, and right here. Over and over and over again. And, I know it's crazy to say, but, people will talk about, it's not, there's no player in football that's worth a couple scores to his team or whatever, two touchdowns or whatever. I'm not sure that Jared Verse wasn't worth that for Florida State this year. Because, a lot of those, value over replacement kind of ideas, that comes from the NFL. And you can see here, they're in position here to make the play, but you can't get reach there. Got to get over the top. But the value over replacement stuff is based on pro stuff. On pro football, basically, calculated well off of that. And in pro football, if you lose an all-pro defensive end, his backup is still a professional football player. He's still really good. Not as good as the Pro Bowler, but he's still really good. When Florida State lost Jared Verse last year, when he was off the field, they were the 83rd, I think, best defense in the country. When he was on the field, they were number 1. It's real simple. And I'm just not sure that he wasn't worth multiple scores to this defense last year because of the drop-off between him and the next group of defensive ends. Just an enormous drop, which is why they went and did what they did. Once again, the screen is covered well out here. It's taken care of well on the edge. You've got one guy responsible for contain here. And Patrick Payton gets juked out of his shoes and Ladd McConkey goes for a touchdown. And this game is over from this point forward. It was really over when guys started opting out. But, this game was completely out of control from here. And again, up to now, I can basically highlight it's the edges and the linebackers that have been beaten over and over and over again defensively. And it's ugly. And, the other thing is, this is one where if I'm on the coaching staff, I'm not letting Patrick Payton forget this all offseason because he got taken advantage of. It's not just the backups. Patrick Payton also got taken advantage of because he had to play more of the Jared Verse type role in this game and didn't handle it well. Nice play here from Destin. I agree with the call, but still really good indicator for the future. Nothing was going to go Florida State's way that night. So we get going a little further. What are you doing? Well, who is this designed to take advantage of? Just so you know. It's designed to take advantage of your edge player, your backers, and the slot guy who's on that receiver. And watch what happens. He just runs right by the edge player, because edge player should be the one to take this. This should be you. If this is Jared Verse, he's drinking through a straw right now. That right there, that gets taken care of. But Georgia game planned this perfectly. They did such a good job on their offensive coaching staff of recognizing where the weaknesses are. And yeah, it only gets 3 yards, but still, what are they doing? Over and over and over again, they're taking advantage of those edge players. Where's this going to go? So you got interior. He's going to be responsible here and over, or here and over. Yeah, so he's got this space, and he's in here. Tight end wins against the defensive end. Run through for the back. Tackle gets a good angle on the backer. Backer gets reached and easy. No pass rush. This is one where they really need to start calling this differently. I mean, this is pass interference on the offense the whole way. But there's nothing you can do as a defender because of the way that they call that. He's grabbing the back of his head and pulling him to him. That should be nothing or pass interference on the offense. They need to change the way they officiate that. So what are they doing here? They're going to take advantage of the backer. Backer here has a spill. They're going to run a little, what's called a bluff, wide open on the edge. So running on the interior was much tougher sledding. Now, in this case, don't like what you see from Darrell Jackson here, who stands up straight and gives up his chest and kind of goes backwards. That's where that space comes from. Much better from Lyons here. This is penetration. That's fine. Jackson gets reached here, gives up his chest. But this is good from Hussey to get in there, make that tackle. Oh, and what do you know? Where are you going for this edge? They're going to blitz it. Going to take advantage of the backer and the edge here. Overrunning that on a blitz. Maybe this is just, poorly timed, but those two guys, inexperienced, don't recognize the screen action. Just chalk it up to maybe a tip your cap to the Georgia coaching staff, but still. Got to hand it to Florida State's coaching staff for still coaching to win this late. I mean, they could have just folded and, run to go into the half and lick their wounds to go down 35-3. They chose not to. This is one where if he just puts this on the money, my goodness. Slow down a little bit, just catch that ball, and you got a chance at a touchdown there. Nothing going your way that night. So then you get that fumble. This is one where a vet doesn't hold on to that as much. Quarterback, what do you do here? You go for it. If you're Georgia, got a chance at an interception there for Hussey. So many opportunities, actually. When you go back and watch this, Florida State had a lot of opportunities to keep this game from getting out of control and actually potentially compete. Maybe even, really be in position to make this a 4-quarter game despite the roster disparity. But basically every opportunity they had to make one of those plays, they didn't make it, and Georgia did. So that's how you get those lopsided outcomes. This is really a little bit lucky, honestly. I mean, that's pretty good coverage. Great catch. But it just drops in right. I mean, he missed the ball by about 3 or 4 inches. But really good throw and catch. And then here, taking advantage of the slot corner. Good call. Right call. Vance just panicked a little bit there. Got that hand over top. And then you get, once again, expecting nothing on the edge here. I'm just able to get this right to the pylon. Once again, taking advantage of the slot corner. And again, this is why they went and got Earl Little. Again, nothing against Greedy Vance, who's a good player, and he's going to play plenty of reps this year, just like he did last year. But ideally, he's more of a support role than he is a starter at that spot. I mean, guys, it's just the first half. I'm not going to do the second half right now. If you want me to do the second half, just a couple of you can contact me on that or comment on this that you want to see the second half. But what I wanted to highlight here is basically a couple of the things that Florida State really needed to do based on what was exposed in this first half defensively. And if you were looking at it, you go, okay, well, that means you're going to need to get multiple defensive ends who can hold up against the run. You're going to need to find a nickel who can replace as close to the efficiency and the level of play that you got from Jarrian Jones as possible. And you need to find a backer with a little bit more size and some experience to help bridge the gap to those young guys. Because where they took advantage of that defense was on the edge, at the nickel position, and at the backer position. And what did Florida State go and do in the portal, in the transfer portal this offseason? They went and they got 3 edge players, including 2 guys who are more big edges who can hold up against the run, Durajaye and Lolohea, and then Marvin Jones Jr. as a guy who can basically do it all out there. Then you add Earl Little at the nickel position and Sean Murphy at the linebacker position. This is why they got what they got. You look at this game and they go, okay, yeah, that's what we need. Now, they also got Grady Kelly at defensive tackle, Devontae Brown at field safety, so adding some other bodies there. If I'm looking at this, the other concern that I have, if I'm self-scouting as Florida State, I'm looking at this and saying, okay, I like what I got from Daniel Lyons a lot at defensive tackle. I know what I've got from Joshua Farmer based on how he played all year last year. Jackson looked a little rusty in this game, needs to continue to develop, but he's a guy that is a high-level player. Grady Kelly, you feel okay about as a transfer at defensive tackle, but you really feel like you need KJ Sampson in particular to step up and be a really high-quality rotational guy, to be the 5th defensive tackle. Ideally, you want him to be maybe your 4th defensive tackle. But I think you need to get maybe bring in one more defensive tackle if I'm looking at this to feel really comfortable. If there's a major defensive tackle that hits the market, you have to be competitive for that. But overall, I look at this and I see that basically Georgia on offense took advantage of 3 spots over and over and over and over again. And Florida State went out in the transfer portal and filled exactly those spots as the matter priority. It's not a coincidence. You can see exactly why it happened. We'll wrap there. I'm going to be recording an episode here, an audio episode here soon, so I'll talk to you then. And thanks for watching.